Good evening, and welcome to this May 5th edition of EastCast. I'm Dana Baker, here to bring you the news of the week. Last Friday, April 30th, at 7:30 in the East Auditorium, 10 of East's hottest guys competed for the title Mr. East. This was a wonderful event which raised a lot of money for the SGA and charity funds. It only cost $4 and was worth every penny. The chairpeople, Lauren Bell, Nicole Reinberg, Marissa Rothman, along with Gary Ross, the newly elected Vice President of Activities, worked very hard organizing this event. The results were as follows. Awards went to Craig Brody for Best Body, Dave Iglewitz for Most Humorous, Steve Scharf, who lip-synced to Little Mermaid, won for Most Creative, and Alok Mehta won for Most Talented. Lastly, the second runner-up went to Mr. Barney Rubble, Dave Iglewitz. First runner-up to Mr. Sideline, Steve Scharf. And the one and only 1993 Mr. East is Mr. All That, Alok Mehta. Mr. East will receive free prom tickets. First runner-up will receive a free rented tuxedo from Formal Expressions. And second runner-up will receive gift certificates. Congratulations, Mr. East, the SGA, and organizers for another wonderful success. On April 27th, 28th, and 29th, many students who are 17 and older did a very good deed. It was the annual blood drive. Between 160 and 170 17-year-old students chose to give blood. Each time the blood drive comes to our school, the number of donators soar, which is a great thing to know. If you couldn't donate blood, many other students chose to help with their planning. The donators felt very comfortable with the volunteers who calmed them down and fed them. I would like to congratulate the Spring Blood Drive chairpeople for another successful endeavor. Some of the chairpeople include Brandy Schnepper, Pam Clark, Melanie DeBedio, Esther Mogel, Carrie Fisher, and Alex Snyder. Congratulations on a job well done. On Tuesday and Wednesday, May 4th and 5th, there will be some tense feelings roaming through the halls at East. It's the election time again. This week, students will elect new student government class officers for the classes of 94, 95, and 96. The following positions that will be voted on include President, Vice President, Secretary-Treasurer, and Publicity Manager. In order to run, candidates first declare themselves. They must then get a petition signed, then they make up a sign introducing themselves. The final step is their speech and posters hanging up all around the school. Candidates who are running are very nervous. It is hard for students to vote. Everyone is so deserving and well qualified. But there can only be one winner. Good luck to all candidates. Relax, be yourself, and try your best on Tuesday, and everything will go fine. This year, the Cherry Hill School Board instituted a new policy to allow one student from East and one student from West to represent them at the meetings as a non-voting member. We are very fortunate to have Corey Ringer here with Adam Blitwin, this year's representative, to bring you some inside information.
Congratulations, Adam. I'd like to start by asking how you got this job.
Well, the application was a 6 or 7 page packet that was submitted by 10 applicants. We each had to write 3 essays. We had to list all of our teachers. From there, a board of administrators, class advisors, and 3 or 4 students. They gathered information on us from our teachers. They got recommendations from each of them. Then they interviewed each of the applicants, and then we each had to read a 3-minute speech that was prepared. We each had to read it for them, and then they questioned us about the speech. From there, they limited it down to 2 candidates, myself and Laura Lou. And then we had to present our speech to the Voting Student Government Association. And then they voted from the 2 of us. They selected one of us to be the 6th student government officer, which is now the Board of Education non-voting member.
Now that you've got the job, how do you think it will help students or help the school?
The problem that they were having with the board members really did want to help, and they really wanted to be receptive to our ideas. The problem that they were having is that most of them have children that graduated a number of years ago. So although education really is one of their concerns, education now is different than education from 5 years ago, and our schools are different. And that was causing a little problem. So now they have representative ideas from our schools now, right this year. So if there's anything they want to know about the school, about education on a day-to-day basis, they have the students there, myself from here, from Cherry Hill East, and Ben Hofstein from Cherry Hill West.
Do you feel that the Board of Ed members, being adults, treat you any differently than, they would another adult because you are much younger than they are?
They do, but I like it. Last night I came into a meeting and I didn't know where to sit. I didn't know which chair was mine. And this is just an example. And they're really great. They're just like, there's, they don't. I don't think they treat me like an adult. But truthfully, I don't think I'm ready for that. I think they realize that there are a lot of things that I don't understand yet, and they make sure that they explain them to me. And sometimes they over-explain them to me. But I'm glad they do. I would much rather them explain everything to me 6 times than not explain things to me at all. So no, they don't really treat me on an adult level, but they treat me on a mature level, and I wouldn't want them to change anything about the way they treat me.
How would a student go about, suggesting something to the school board, if they had like a suggestion or an improvement that they think that should be done, said, or mentioned?
I'm in the process of putting together a standard form for any student to fill out. I haven't done that yet. One of the reasons why I'm sort of holding back on that is I think it's kind of impersonal. Right now, if they have a problem, they should track me down, and they should speak to me directly. And I'll sit down with them, and we'll discuss it, and we'll go over it, we'll put it in writing, and then we'll see what we can do.
Where could students find you, like during homeroom or during lunch period?
That would be a problem. I'm just running around all the time. I'm never sitting in the same place for more than a minute and a half. So they can find me. My homeroom is AO21, or the SGA office. You can try to find me there, or if not, they could just leave something in my box in AO21, and then I can track them down.
I suppose they could always page you from communications if it was something that they really wanted to say.
If it was that urgent, Corey, they could certainly page me from communications.
What are the responsibilities of this job? Like, how many times do you have to meet with the school board, and, what other things are you responsible for?
Once a month, we have a committee of the whole meeting, which is the entire school board. And then 1 week after that, we'll have the action meeting, which is the entire school board in front of the community. We also have committee meetings throughout the month. As a non-voting member of the school board, I can serve on as many committees as I'd like, or I can focus on just one. So far, I've focused on the secondary education committee because I think that that's the committee that most directly affects the students here. Other board members, voting board members, can only serve on 2. So I'm not sure if I want to work on any others. Like I said, I think secondary education should really be the thrust of what I'm doing. So I have that meeting, which is pretty much once a month. Then I have the committee of the whole meetings, and then I have the public action meetings.
All right, congratulations again, Adam. And now back to Dan and Baker at the anchoring desk.
We at Cable 18 would like to join SGA in thanking our teachers for a job well done. Tune in next week for our tribute to East's teachers. That's it for the news tonight. Special thanks to Mr. Gordon Hampson, cameraman and editor, to Mr. Keith Haynes, advisor, and to Eric Salzman and Tracy A. Denton, our student camera people. Thank you for joining us this evening. Stay tuned for a Cherry Hill East and West baseball game, which follows the junior high school news. Tonight we leave you with Athelia, enjoying the spring flowers. Good night, Athelia.
Good evening and welcome to the West Report. I'm Debbie Wickus.
And I'm Dave Hammond. On Monday, May 3rd, and on Tuesday, May 4th, SGO sponsored the 1993 Spring Blood Drive. All staff members and students 17 years and older were encouraged to donate blood. The Blood Services of America Red Cross in the Penn Jersey region handled the blood drive well and gave donuts, pretzels, and juice to the students after they were done with their 1-pint donations. The West Report tried to obtain footage for this event, but we were turned down by an overzealous blood worker.
This Friday will be the One Act Play Festival. Each class will put on their own 30-minute production. Awards will be given for acting, directing, and production. And here's Brian Connors with this week's Reasons to Celebrate.
One of the great days in Mexican history, celebrated by Mexicans at home in Mexico and abroad in foreign countries, is Cinco de Mayo, or as the Americans know it as, the 5th of May. Why do Mexicans make such a big deal out of the 5th of May? What's with my sombrero? Well, folks, it's just a little way to get you in the mood to help me celebrate Cinco de Mayo. The day is the anniversary of the Battle of Guadalupe near Puebla, which was fought between the Mexicans and the French in 1862. The battle was one of those in the campaign to place Maximilian, which was a French guy, on the throne in Mexico. The French ultimately conquered the country and put Maximilian on the throne, but he was deposed and shot of later by the Mexicans. What does all this mean, you ask? Cinco de Mayo is Mexican Independence Day. And this sombrero is really great, isn't it? Us Americans will milk anything for a holiday. This is Brian Connors with this week's Reason to Celebrate. Adios, everybody.
28 students from West Spanish 4 and 5 AP classes were inducted into the Quiroga chapter of the National Spanish Honor Society in the library last Wednesday. Mr. Abraham Montes de Oca from the United Nations was the guest speaker who commended the inductees on their achievements. In a candlelighting ceremony, the new members pledged to devote themselves to the study of the Spanish language in order to master it someday, remembering that language can be a strong tie between persons of differing origins of race or religion. They promised to promote friendship and understanding between the many countries of the world. After the ceremony, Mr. Pablo Cohen played classical and traditional guitar music to entertain the inductees and their families and friends. A reception with fruit, drinks, and pastries was held afterwards. Also, last week, Nature Defense West Environmental Group celebrated Earth Week. Nature Defense raffled off T-shirts from their Project Earth program to raise funds for the program and to help environmental causes. The club also had informational tables at all lunch periods, dealing with topics such as recycling, water, wildlife, and trees. The club hoped to enlighten the student body and make them more aware of environmental issues. And now, with sports, here's the West Report's own Dave Marica.
The Cherry Hill West baseball team had a thrilling week with 4 big victories. The Lions began the week by beating Camden Catholic 6-2 as Steve Hobbs and Greg Peck combined pitching efforts in the victory. The team then had 2 consecutive come-from-behind victories over Triton, 12-9 and 6-5. Jeremy Sunkett had big games offensively against Triton. Last Friday, the boys beat Eastern 5-2. Pete Wasnitzer was the winning pitcher for West, and Keith Moore was 3 for 3 with an RBI double. This week, the Lions played East and beat them 15-7. Stay tuned after the West Report and the East Report for the East-West baseball game. The Lions will also play Washington Township, Camden, and Lenape this week. The girls' softball team grabbed the win last week, a 2-0 shutout of Gloucester Township Tech. Kathy Yano pitched a 2-hitter for the Lady Lions, and Tracy Lang and Allison Lane each had RBI singles in the game. Also last week, the girls fell to Camden Catholic 4-0. The West tennis team went 1-1 last week with a 4-1 win over Highland and a respectable 3-2 loss to Haddonfield. Majid Mohyuddin went 2-0 in individual play last week, and the doubles teams of Wes Tudor and Justin Garrison and Gary Bergman and Teddy DeGuzman were undefeated also last week. The number 8 ranked Lions play East, Lenape, and Camden this week. Also, the team will participate in the Olympic Conference tournament this week. The Lady Lions lacrosse team lost to Cinnaminson last week 15-6. Adrian Thorpe scored a hat trick for West, and Haeyeon Ri added 2 more goals. The team will travel to Camden Catholic, Cherokee, and Willingboro this week. The boys track team, they lost to Eastern 95-36 and to Edgewood 90-41 last week. Dave Zuzka won both the 800 and the 1600 meter run against Edgewood. Also, last Saturday, West performed in the South Jersey Open. Individuals will get another chance to establish themselves in the Camden County meet this weekend. Also, the team will race Overbrook. The girls' track team lost to both Eastern and Edgewood in a tri-meet last week. Nina Moore took the long jump for West with a jump of 16 feet 10 inches. The girls also performed in the South Jersey Open last Saturday. They'll race Overbrook and then in the Camden County meet this week. And finally, the West golf team remained winless with a 4-2 loss to Camden Catholic. The team plays East and Washington Township this week. That's all the sports. And just a reminder, stay tuned for the East-West varsity baseball game, which will be shown after the high school news. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week.
The final tryouts for PAVIS will be held on May 10th from 6 to 9 in the cafeteria. The junior prom will be held this Saturday, May 8th from 7:30 to 12 in the Phoenix Room at the Garden State Racetrack. There will be a mini meeting for all juniors tomorrow in homeroom to discuss the event. Senior prom tickets are still on sale during all lunch periods and in F22 during homeroom. The prom is scheduled for May 29th at the Bellevue. The Board of Education is interested in hiring 9 students from each high school to perform summer groundkeeping tasks. The hourly wage is $5. If interested, contact Mr. Davidale in B1 before May 21st. SAD is holding a raffle during all lunch periods from May 3rd to May 7th. Each ticket costs 25 cents. Prizes include gift certificates, CDs, posters, baseball hats, and free food. Help support SAD and its annual campaign against drinking and driving. Finally, it's that time of year again at Cherry Hill West. It's spring, when the world is mud luscious and puddle wonderful. And Betty and Isabel come dancing from hopscotch and jump rope. Our campus is blooming with cherry blossom, dogwood, and students with acute cases of senioritis and spring fever. And in the words of A.E. Hausman, and since to look at things in bloom 50 springs is little room, we thought we'd leave you tonight with scenes of students enjoying spring in our beautiful West Campus. Thank you for watching the West Report. Please tune in next week at the same time. Good night.
Good night.